Hello, awesome human. Welcome to the Fearless Power Hour visualization. We're just going to take a couple of deep breaths, 3 deep breaths before we get started. So first inhale, and then just go, let it all go. Second deep breath, inhale, and then just go, let it all go. Third deep breath, inhale. So expand your chest, look up to the sky, hold it at the top for a little bit, and then just go, and let it all go. So I invite you to gently close your eyes if you haven't already. And imagine you're in your happy place. That can be imagined or a place you've been to before, maybe on vacation, a place you visited in the past that you loved, or a place you'd love to visit in the future. Really feel yourself into that happy place. Once you're there, take a couple of grounding breaths to really ground you there. Wiggle your toes. Feel the warm air on your face, or the cold air, wherever you may be. And now I invite you to imagine that there's a path. There's a path behind you, and it leads to the house of your soul. You're just going to walk along this beautiful path until you get to the house of your soul. Once you're there at the house of your soul, imagine a beautiful door. Once you open that door, there's a beautiful winding staircase. You go down and down and down the staircase. And the lower you go, the younger you become, until you're the age of 5. And you reach basement level 5. And you're greeted by a beautiful long corridor. And things seem a little bit bigger now because you're smaller, and that's okay. At the end of the beautiful corridor, there's a shape. And this shape is going to represent the fear. And really see it there. How does it look? Are there any colors, shapes? What size is it? Anything else you notice? And deep breaths here. Deep breaths. If you can, very slowly, take a couple of tiny steps towards this shape. And if there's anything that you want to say to the shape, feel free to say it. Anything that you've been holding on to, really say it. Say it now. Once you're done, if it resonates, say to it, I see you. I see you. I can see you a lot more clearly now. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. And once you've said what you needed to say, notice if that changes anything for you. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. And now I want you to imagine that there's a person there. This person is going to represent the person that fear belongs to, that this fear belongs to. This person can represent more than one person. It could be society, the patriarchy, community, ancestors, or they could just represent a person, a family member, a friend, a neighbor. Really see that person there. And once they're there, see if that does anything to the shape. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. And now very slowly, take a couple tiny steps towards this person. See if that does anything for you or the shape. Notice any changes. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. Now imagine that person is pointing towards the shape and says to you, you don't have to carry this anymore. This is for me to carry. I will carry it from now on. And imagine that fear shape going into that person, being absorbed by that person. Deep breaths here, deep breaths. And just notice any changes. And now I want you to imagine a really big shape, bigger than you, bigger than that person, and bigger than the fear shape. This shape is going to represent fate. Really see it there. And now with that person next to you, take a couple of tiny steps towards fate. And now imagine fate saying to you, pointing to the person, and talking to both of you, you and the person. You don't have to carry that anymore. I am much bigger than you. I can take it. I will carry it from now on. And imagine the fear shape being absorbed away from that person and into fate. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. And now imagine that person next to you, and you're going to take a couple more tiny steps towards that shape. The shape of fate. Now imagine you're both going to bow and say thank you to fate. Now imagine behind you on your left is your mom. And behind you on your right is your dad. And really breathe in that support. And if you have step parents, just fill them in there too, wherever feels comfortable. And now behind you, on your left, are your mother's parents, your maternal grandparents. Really breathe in that support. Behind you on your right, behind your father, are your paternal grandparents. Just see how that feels for you. Behind your maternal grandparents are their parents. And behind you, on your father's side, behind your grandparents are their parents. Really lean into that support if you can. Breathe that support in. And now, as far as the eye can see, behind you on your mom's side are all of the ancestors, all the way back to your very, very first ancestor on your mom's side. And behind you, on your right, behind your dad, and behind your dad's grandparents are all of his ancestors, all the way back to the very, very first ancestors on his side. And really feel that support behind you. And really breathe it in. Deep breaths here. Deep breaths. And now imagine they look at you and they wish you well on your journey. They say it's time for you to go now, fearlessly, into the world. We're so very proud of you. And you look at them and you take a bow and say thank you. And you go up the stairs, the winding staircase, up and up and up. And the higher you go, the older you become, until you get to the top and you're your current age. And you open the door and you're greeted by a beautiful sunset, pinks and oranges and purples. You feel the warmth on your face and the warmth in your heart, that inner knowing, that inner wisdom. We're just going to take 3 deep breaths and we're going to come out of the visualization. First inhale. And then just go. Second inhale. And then just go. Third deep breath. This one, expand your chest, look up to the sky, hold at the top for a little bit, and then just go. Let it all go. Thank you so much for joining. Hope you have a wonderful day. Bye for now.